Welcome back to the ReactConf 2025 live stream. We got Nicolas here who talked to us about React Strict DOM. And Nicolas, we're going to go over a few questions our audience members have sent us. But before we do that, I want to ask you about your walk-in music. Did you choose that?
Yeah, I did.
Are you a big fan of the Queens of the Stone Age?
I wouldn't say big fan, but yeah, I like that drum
You,
intro.
you like that one? Yeah, I like it too. Cool. So let's get into the questions we got. We have some styling questions, and someone's asking, how can we use other styling libraries with strict DOM that are not Stylex?
No, you can't, basically. Anything that you use would have to be rendered down to that on some level. So.
Okay.
Like with React Native, you could come up with some other syntax that a compiler would turn into the API that we support.
Sure.
And that's just necessary for style encapsulation and predictability, basically.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Did you see any accessibility issues with using this on React Native?
We haven't encountered any at the moment because almost all the web APIs map to something that we have in React Native.
Oh.
And so if anything, it's more about trying to bring additional accessibility capabilities that you'd be used to on the web to native. So It's been okay so far.
Okay. And people are asking about VR and AR support for React Strict DOM and if there's a roadmap for that.
Well, I did mention that we've been using React Strict DOM to build VR apps. So that was one of the first use cases for cross-platform code, in fact. So, I mean, React Native essentially works on VR, or on our VR headsets at least. So I guess, yes, that works.
And we've been using that on VR Facebook and VR Instagram?
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, cool. We got some questions about iterating on Strict DOM at Meta. Can people outside of Meta do the same? How do they get started, and how do they give you feedback?
Yes, there are a few teams outside of Meta who are using React Strict DOM already, and so go to the GitHub project, look at the docs. There's plenty of instructions on how to get started. There's even some LLM instructions, so you can kind of paste that into your AI coding assistant of choice, and it'll help you generate the kind of code that is expected because they haven't yet been trained on this syntax.
Right.
But it's very close to React DOM, so we found internally they don't have any trouble writing that kind of code.
Cool. Could you eventually use React Compiler to compile or generate strict DOM and then just write React however you want?
Yes, maybe. I mean, the question has come up before about whether the like HTML module, for example, is needed, or if it could just be like an overloaded version of React DOM. And the reason we don't do that is because we don't want to create like confusion for developers where something looks like something they're used to, but now behaves differently. But fast forward a bunch of time into the future, if something like this were to take off, it could be that it could become the default, or people can write their own layers on top that, as was mentioned, like can compile down to that if necessary.
Yeah. Okay. We're all done with the audience questions, and I'm going to ask you my two favorite questions of this conference. Number one, what's your favorite React feature ever?
Probably React Native style sheet.
Oh.
Christopher Shudo talks about that a lot. And I think the insights there and the effectiveness of that API for the React Native ecosystem has been really influential, and I spent a lot of time essentially trying to bring that to the web.
Cool. I think this is the first time anyone answered that here, actually. And what is one thing about you that doesn't come up in normal conversation? Any fun hobbies or anything interesting like that?
Well, once upon a time, I was an anthropologist, or at least a student of anthropology. So my background is not technical at all, and I got into software engineering as an accident. So yeah, I guess I don't know if that's fun, but it doesn't come up very often.
A lot of the people I talked to over the last 2 days have very diverse backgrounds, but it's always like math, finance. I think it's the first time I'm hearing anthropology.
It'll be interesting to see whether this like new wave of technology with like AI-assisted development helps bring more people from non-technical backgrounds back. I mean, I did study the hard sciences before I became an anthropologist, but I think the ability to allow people to express their intent and not have to become domain experts in programming is, maybe going to bring more people back into this kind of field of experience
100%.
development.
Thank you, Nicolas, and thank you, audience, for sending all these questions.
Yes, thank
we'll
you
be
very
right
much.
back with Luna, who's going to talk to us about virtual view.